What's up you guys? Hey, it's Dr. Buck. Thanks for watching this video. And this video is how to suture from a surgeon. So this video is actually going to be a quick and dirty guide to how I suture. This is the first video in a series of videos that are going to teach you about suturing, suture material, instruments, and all that good stuff. I'd like to thank the folks at Medical Creations for supporting my channel by sponsoring this video, as well as sending me this suture kit I'll be using today. So what you get here is a nice little kit like that. So what you get in this kit is a pair of forceps, these are Adsons, a needle driver, scalpel, hemostats, and scissors. Perfect, right? You also get a bunch of suture and one of these pads to suture on. This is actually the old style pad. This is the new pad. It's a great little kit if you want to learn and practice at home. And the company is called Medical Creations. So let's get to it. I'm gonna pull out my needle driver here and my forceps and some scissors. And I've already opened a pack of, actually I have a 4.0 silk suture. We're gonna go over the types of sutures and the needles and all that stuff later. But this one, I wanna get to the fun stuff, which is suturing. Real quick, let's talk about how to put the needle on the needle driver. You want it at about a 90-degree angle. I sometimes do a little bit of an angle forward. And that's just because my arms are triangulating the spot that I want to be. It provides a 90-degree angle to the actual incision site. So I do that sometimes. Second thing is how to hold the needle driver. You want to put your thumb and your ring finger in the needle driver, not the index here, not the index or the middle finger. The other way you can do it is, the way I do it is you palm the needle driver like that. And then that gives you more kind of like degrees of freedom because you can actually twist it like this. But when you're starting out, if you want to do those two, that's just fine. Now this is a pickup. This is an Addson pickup because it's got teeth. This is specifically for skin. So you do want to use the tooth pickup with skin. So if I'm going to try and close this incision right here, I'm going to take this needle driver and I want to put my finger as close to the tip of the needle driver as possible. That actually makes the tip of the needle driver more steady and thus the needle more steady. And the more things that you can rest your hands or elbows or wrists on, the more steady you're going to be. I twist my wrist like this and I get the needle so it's going in about 90 degrees to the skin. Once it's in the depth that I like, I twist my wrist, okay? And I see the needle come out. You can close incisions with 1 or 2 bites, and this one I'm gonna do 2 bites. And notice what I'm gonna do here is pull the needle out just a little bit, and then I'm gonna grab the needle exactly where I want to grab it for the next bite. And that is about 2/3 back and at the tip of the needle driver. 2/3 of the way back on the needle. And now what I do is, since I have this exactly where I want it, this is what's good about palming, is I pull it up slowly, right? I twist, and I'm actually ready for the next bite. There it is. And notice I am palming, which is why I can make this move. Once I put that in the second side, I can go ahead and pull this out. Now I don't have to really hold the needle with my forceps. The reason is because once you put the needle in the tissue should stay stable unless the patient's moving all around. And second, it'll stay stable if you hold it with the forceps. So you want to hold the tissue actually with the forceps and not the needle with the forceps. And if you hold the tissue in place and let go of the needle should stay right in place. And so then you can pick it up again. Now I can pull it out a little bit again. I'm gonna grab it right where I want the needle driver to go for the next bite, but I'm not gonna actually do next bite because we're gonna tie this. And so here's another tip here. A lot of students I see, we have this long suture here. A lot of people like pull this way high, right? You're gonna touch your face, you're gonna hit somebody else's face. If you're in a real procedure, you're gonna make it unsterile. You're gonna lay this suture way out somewhere else that's not sterile. So here's a little tip here. What you can do is you just put your forceps right in here, okay, and you pull this along. And you want to pull this suture down till you got a few centimeters out there and the suture is sticking straight up. That's going to help later. So then I'm going to let go of the needle with this hand. Now, the needle is not really that dangerous when it's not attached to something. If it's attached to this, you can poke somebody. So as long as the needle is like dangling, then typically it doesn't really cause any damage and won't poke through anything. So what I do here is I grab usually a couple palm lengths or so, and I'm also palming the forceps with my left hand. Okay, this is for right-handers. And all I do is just put the needle driver in between the tail and the length of the suture. And the first one, I usually do 2 wraps. So this is pretty typical. Notice how much length I have. A lot of students, they make a mistake, they go like this. And then they don't have anything, it's tight, and it's gonna get caught in these jaws. And when you open it up, it gets caught, or it gets caught in these back here. Make a big, nice loop. And then when you bring it in, okay, I kind of brought around the back, I start to make that loop. And then look how big that loop is. And then I make another loop and it's nice and big. And then I grab this tip here, which is sticking straight up for me. And then I bring this across and I pull this through, okay? And then I lay this down and you pull it a little bit tight, not too tight, just approximating the tissue. You don't want to strangulate the tissue. To set this suture so it doesn't come out for my next throw, I pull it like this. Snap it like that. And even you can set it up in the air a little bit so that way it's not laying on the skin. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my needle driver between the long end and the tail again. And I'm gonna make this big old loop. I don't care if it's too big, but I don't want it too small. And then I'm gonna pull it through. And this will then secure that. Now I'm going back and forth and I'm gonna make a square knot. So now I'm gonna go this way. I didn't put it up in the air, right? Bang, boom, boom, back and forth. Okay, I got a little, maybe too much there. But that is essentially simple suturing. Now this is what we call a simple interrupted suture, or knot, stitch, I guess. And there are lots of different types of sutures and knots and stitches, and we're gonna go over those in my other videos. But I'm just gonna do a couple more for you to watch, and I'll point out a few other things. So I palm it. I can get more rotation when I palm it. That's why I do that. Your attendings might not like that at the beginning, and so you might have to put your thumb and ring finger in there, but practice palming at home, okay? And now I'm gonna do just one bite across here. I'm gonna turn it up. There we go. Okay, it didn't come out very much there, and I don't have to hold this tissue with this thing, but you might have to hold the tissue to keep the needle in the same spot. So if I hold the tissue with this, I pull this across, I steady this side of the tissue, this needle's not going anywhere. Then I'm gonna pull it out just a tad. So I'm gonna go right about there, because 2/3 of the way back is where I wanna grab it, right there. Okay, and then I'm gonna pull it through. And this, well, that's what happens when you palm it sometimes, try to be fancy. And I can do this maneuver. This is a long suture. Typically you don't use suture this long, but it's good that it comes in this kit because you can practice more. So the other thing that you want to do is really you don't want to touch the needle too much, because the more you touch it, the more chance you have to poke yourself. So what you can do is actually grab this suture here or by your finger and raise it up, and then set the needle in a place that you think you can pick it up. In fact, you can just grasp it a little bit, not clamp it all the way down, okay? And then turn it a little bit if you want to. And so this is gonna be a figure 8 suture stitch. We're gonna do 2 of them right next to each other. This is used for a lot of time for ligating a blood vessel. Put the blood vessel right in the middle there. I also use this for my abdominal incisions, the port sites for like a 12mm port for a laparoscope. So it's called the figure 8 because we're gonna make an 8 out of it. See, that looks like an 8. Almost. More like an X, but you know what I'm talking about. Snap this there, pull it up in the air, put the needle driver in between the 2. I already did 2, right? Okay. Oh. All right, snap it down. With silk, you don't necessarily need to do a lot of throws. Typically, most people say 3 for silk and 4 for vicryl. I do usually 4 and 5. Extra safety. I'm doing just some more just to watch, so you can watch. And you don't have to go back and forth with silk because it's a polyfilament suture, which I'm going to talk about in the other videos as well. You can if you want. So, okay, that's a lot. You don't need that many. For reals. Okay, that is the basics of suturing. Now you know how to do it. I'm gonna talk about hand tying and different types of sutures and things like that in the other videos. So go check out those videos and I'll see you in the next one. Anyway, that is how to suture from a surgeon. That's the quick and dirty, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment below. Thanks you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.